I've read all kinds of letters from you this month about loneliness. A lot of you talk about the source of the problem, right? Which is feeling isolated in your society, in your community, wanting love and not knowing how to find it, being stuck somewhere that you can't leave, feeling different from your family or from your friends. And I think it's pretty easy to understand what a problem is. I think there are a lot of people in all different places who can diagnose something and say, this is why you feel this way, this is what's wrong. You know, we live in a society that isn't based around sharing or generosity of emotions. We are increasingly disconnected from ourselves and from each other. We are afraid of our feelings and we do anything to sabotage actually experiencing them. There are plenty of people who can tell you this, and you might feel the same way. But what is the solution, right? Like, where do you go from there? And I think there is no solution because there is no problem, right? Like, it's fine to be upset and it's fine to feel alone. Like, it doesn't matter that much. Um, I've been thinking about apotheosis this week, about how, that like ancient image of the snake eating itself, and just how cyclical everything is. We live through the seasons every year, and we are born as babies and sort of return to babyhood at the end of life. Um, you're hungry and then you eat and then you're hungry again. It's not really like a belief, it's just the way things are, is everything comes again. You can look at history, and you see just patterns repeating themselves. Um, and there is no way out of those feelings. Not really. I mean, like the quick fixes, the way to make yourself feel better, um, the way to soothe those demons, is by meeting them, coming to terms with them, feeling comfortable and safe even with them, but it doesn't excavate the feeling. And I can tell you, and I'm certain of this, every single person in the world feels just as lonely as you do on your worst night. We all are sharing the same amount of happiness, and like these emotions are frequencies. They cycle about and they fill you like a vessel. And I think if you have one job, it's just to not be afraid of them, to not view your circumstance as some sort of curse or some sort of problem, but rather that this is how things have to be, and things must be the way they are. When a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it completely dissolves in, what's that thing called? The cornucopia? No, the cocoon. It completely dissolves. If you were to like open a cocoon before it was ready, it would just be goo. Like there's nothing there. But the caterpillar has the DNA of the butterfly within it. Like it's never separate from that. But in order to, transform, it has to literally break itself out of the cocoon. It knows nothing else. Its entire world is this cocoon, and it gets too big for it, and it must very violently like thrash and force itself. Like think of a chick coming out of an egg. The egg is the only home the chick has ever known, and it has to like beat its beak against its only like God, its only world, and it just does this. It doesn't know why, or maybe it does. Maybe it knows better than we do, but it just like over and over again to the point of exhaustion. I don't know if you've ever seen a chick being born, but it takes days because it's exhausted, and it just keeps going. It just keeps thrashing against what it knows in search of the light. Um, and yeah, all this to say, like, you just keep facing yourself. Um, you can run through a million rooms and you're just going to get to another mirror. And you can run away from that mirror, but there's just going to be another. And it's sad and it's scary, but it's also very funny. Like, it's very funny and beautiful and tragic. Um, and if I was to impart one thing, it would just be to not take yourself too seriously, that your feelings aren't, they don't need to be so precious. I mean, I think being gentle with something is different. Like, when something is marked as precious, it kind of ruins it in a way. Like, think about all like the beautiful old churches that you have to wait in line to get in, and you only get 10 minutes or whatever. Um, and your feelings are the same way. You have to be soft with them and open in order to cradle the sensation, but you can't stay home all day licking your wounds. Like, that loneliness is yours, and it's yours to live with and work with. It's not going anywhere, unfortunately. Um, I mean, I'm sure in some way or another I felt lonely every day of my life, and I probably always will. And it's not something to solve. It's just like the seasons, it's mathematical. It's not personal. It's not about you. It's not that you've done something wrong or you're bad or you're not where you should be and so you're being punished with these feelings. It's just an equation. Like, if you think about nature and the universe, they don't have a bias towards you. Karma, like the idea of this wheel turning, this cycle that this cause leads to this effect, this is just how things have to be. And you are not a victim of that. You are karma, it's experiencing itself. If you could let go of what it means to be lonely, like intellectualizing like where this comes from, where it's taking me, how I get away from this, I think it's much better to just feel what you're feeling, hold that gentle, open space and experience it, because feelings don't lie. Your thoughts and your words, they're never going to be right. They're never going to be exactly what you wanted them to be. Like, when I say grass is green, like, is it really green? Is that like all I have to say about that? Like, words are just the best we can do, but your feelings are true because they're you. You know, when you are lonely, you are your loneliness. Like, that has come to you and it is your entire embodiment. Um, and so just be that and don't worry about it too much. Don't let it be this like unmovable force. Don't let it keep you from like getting out of bed and brushing your teeth, because like plenty of people brush their teeth when they're lonely. I guarantee it. Like, millions and billions of people before you and after you will still brush their teeth when they're lonely. It doesn't have to be this debilitating thing. I guess it can be, like, it doesn't really matter. But my point is just, when it's winter, you know it's going to be spring. You expect the spring. You don't question it. You don't think, oh my god, it's going to be winter forever. Like, this is just never going to stop. You have trust in the world and the ease of nature, and how things just grow anew and die and grow again. And you can treat your emotions the same. You can treat your isolation. Um, as a visitor in your guest house who will one day depart. Um, and there isn't any cure for this or any resolve, but I suggest being a good friend, to this visitor and to yourself. Um, just meeting everything where it's at and having the dignity to keep doing what you're doing, to keep fulfilling your projects and your dreams, even if they don't feel right. This sweater I'm wearing is made from rabbits, and the bed I'm sitting on has feathers in it. And there was a bed maker who made this, and a tree that grew and was watered and sun. And like all of these things are connected with me right now. I am everything. And if you really look deeply into your surroundings, into what you're wearing, what you're doing, what you're eating, the air you're breathing. George Washington breathed the air you're breathing. Like everything belongs to everyone, and you are everything. And you can be your loneliness as long as you want to. It's always there, just like every other emotion in your body. It's a resource that you can tap into. It's something that visits you when a certain when a certain like equation of circumstances aligns to make that apparent, to bring that visitor into the room. But if you go eat an orange and you really focus on eating an orange, then you aren't lonely, you're an orange. So you can be whatever you want. You really have the freedom to move and to change. And if you stay lonely for a really long time, maybe you just like being lonely, and that's fine. I like being lonely. I guess all this is just to say that there is nothing wrong with you. You are not cursed. You do not need to justify your goodness. You don't need to have certain feelings to be like worthy of a good life. You could be sad every single day and you can still have a good life. These things aren't connected. Um, be generous with your emotions, allow them to move you and flow through you. Don't go, no, I can't be lonely. I have to throw a party, because at the end of the day, everything comes back around and it doesn't really matter. And I just don't want you to avoid your own life because you want it to be something it'll never be. Yeah. So be present and follow what makes you feel good or don't. There's a lesson in everything, and it's kind of the same lesson in everything. So just like whatever you're interested in, or I don't know, don't do anything, just be. Like everything you're doing is fine, and is exactly right, and there isn't any like mission or goal or secret or escape. And also, don't take anything I say too seriously. Like, I'm just a girl on the internet.